You know, I think because my father was the one who introduced me to drawing, a lot of my sort of influences and interests stem from growing up with my father, and I guess it's kind of biographical of like Southern California at times. But because he played this early role of perhaps teaching me how to see and look at things a little bit differently, at least the things that he was interested in, a lot of it being custom car culture. I think that has always just inevitably been an interest of mine. Been here for 3 years now, since 2020, and moved in here with Sonia Sombro and Rafael Esparza. And then as the year or two sort of passed along, a few other artist friends of mine moved in here as well. Alfonso Gonzalez Jr., Devin Reynolds, and Noah Cohen, who's Sonia's brother. He's an amazing carpenter. I was painting in my house that I currently live in Solano Canyon. It was just a basement studio. Never meant to be a long-term thing, but ended up being my studio for a really long time. At least like 5 or 6 years. Right when I moved down here, I moved in with some friends in that house. And the studio that I was working in, which was just a basement, was vacant. So they knew I needed a place to paint. And I set up shop there. My old studio was always referred to as like the dungeon, because it had that kind of vibe to it, if you will. Really dark, dim lit. It's actually hard to imagine that I made anything in there when I go down there to work on anything. This is a Chris Millick drawing. My Nina passed away years ago now. She made these paintings. I actually got a few paintings that she made in the 80s. That's 1985. This is actually the CB radio from my dad's truck. He started dismantling it and taking things apart. He's been gifting me a lot of the things from it. It became like non-op like a few years ago, so he's sort of forced to sell it. Matthew Botta made this bat. Yeah, it's so gnarly. He sent this to me in the mail from SF. This is my little makeshift spray booth. If we really had some like downtime, this would be like the craziest thing to go through, because it's like letters from Jeffrey and like old tapes that I made for like shows. This is an old book that I made with Grant, who took the photo of Bubba. It's one of my favorite pages. Yeah, this is actually kind of like from the beginning to not necessarily the end, but just throughout, like finding these like magazines, these kind of like early brown publications. I was like really interested in like the cover of this one, Las Buenas Nuevas. And later met this lady. It's a long story, so it might just sound butchered, but met this lady, Patricia, whose mother Audrey was making all of these zines around the 90s, early 2000s in SF. They were sort of reminiscent of like Teen Angels and Mi Vida Loca. And she was going up to San Quentin every Sunday when she was like alive with her church, and they would talk to the death row members.